A lot of SUVs in the industry nowadays are going soft, relying on unibody construction to provide a smooth ride for families and moms going to get the groceries. Toyota, however, is not buying into it, still building the 4Runner with the classic body-on-frame construction. So can the 4Runner hack it with its family-friendly competitors, or will that rugged construction show off this vehicle's true roots? We're gonna find out. There's only one engine option that you can get with the 2014 4Runner, and that's a 4-liter V6, good for 270 horsepower and 278 pound-feet of torque. Models equipped with 4x2 will net 17 miles per gallon in the city and 23 on the highway, while models equipped with 4x4 will drop down just one peg, rated at 17 miles per gallon city and 22 on the highway. When properly equipped, the 4Runner can tow a maximum of 5,000 pounds, and each vehicle features an integrated tow hitch receiver and a wiring harness as standard equipment. A base 4Runner costs $33,680, but bumped up to a limited 4x4 model like we have here, and the price climbs to $44,260. Now, styling on the 2014 4Runner has been changed, with the biggest revisions coming to the front end. Now, it is definitely a polarizing look, and I think that it might turn some people off, especially that big chrome bar you get on the limited trim, which I think makes the 4Runner look like it's wearing braces. While the 4Runner doesn't have that iconic look like, let's say, its brother, the FJ Cruiser, it definitely looks rugged enough that you'll know that it's an off-road ready vehicle just by taking a glance at it. Now, despite its serious off-road credentials, looking at just the interior of this vehicle, you'd never know that it could tackle the trails like it does. It has all the latest amenities that you'd want, especially in this top-of-the-line limited trim like we have it here. You get heated and cooled seats, steering wheel controls, and a touchscreen in the center stack that runs the latest version of Toyota's Entune infotainment system. While the majority of Entune I've had no issues with, the navigation system could definitely use a little bit more work. It's a little clunky, slow, and the controls just are not intuitive. One other interesting point with the interior of the 4Runner is that you can get a third row of seats if you want them. Now, while the seats are comfortable and the materials in here are quite nice, the 4Runner can't quite keep up to, say, the Grand Cherokee when it comes to a nice luxury interior. The dynamics of this 4Runner on-road are completely dictated by its rugged construction. Now, this thing is body on frame, it has a solid rear axle, and it's full-time four-wheel drive. The body on frame construction means that when you hit the gas, the brake, or you corner in this thing, you do experience quite a bit of body roll. And that is something that you won't get in a unibody SUV. Now, the folks at Toyota know that this top-of-the-line limited model is the least likely one to go off-road, so they've gone to some lengths to make it even smoother than the rest of the lineup. Now, with the SR5 and trail models of the 4Runner, you still get a proper two-mode transfer case, but with this limited model, you get a Torsen center differential, which provides full-time four-wheel drive and better road manners. On top of that, this limited 4Runner gets Toyota's XREAS setup, which automatically adjusts the damping of the shocks to keep it smooth over the bumps and to keep it flat in the corners. Now, despite those advances on this limited model, it still does dip and dive like a traditional body-on-frame SUV, but for someone going off-road, it'll definitely be a price worth paying. As I mentioned before, this limited trim is actually one of the softest 4Runners you can buy, but I will tell you that it still climbs like a mountain goat. Running around in a couple inches of snow and mud did nothing to tarnish my opinion of how this thing handles off-road. This 4Runner always inspires confidence, and it rarely loses grip. Now, when you get into those off-road situations, the motor is also definitely torquey enough to pull you up any hill that you're going to find, and it has a nice broad torque curve. Now, there are two off-road specific features in this Toyota I'd like to talk about. The first one is the hill descent control, which I can tell you works really well. As you roll over the top of the hill, it will keep the 4Runner at a slow, even speed all the way down with no driver input needed. The second system is based off the same premise, and it's called crawl. Basically, you set it up to keep you at a fixed speed despite what's going on with throttle input. That means that if you're off-road, you can just put your foot right to the floor and focus on putting the wheels where they need to be. Now, despite the compromised on-road driving dynamics, the 4Runner really is one of the best marriages of purpose-built off-road construction and interior quality and comfort. The real beauty of the 4Runner is once the groceries are bought and the kids' soccer game is done, you can still hit the trails, and I guarantee you'll be leaving a lot of those unibody SUVs back there in the ditch.